Welcome to Pai Gow Poker. Pai Gow Poker is a card variation of the Chinese domino game called Pai Gow. The game recognized today as Pai Gow Poker is a more modern version. Pai Gow traces its roots to the Song Dynasty 960 to 1279 AD, when up to 8 players would arrange 4 tiles each into 2 pairs, called the front hand and the back hand. The object of the game is to defeat both of the banker's hands, respectively, to claim even money on a wager. Sam Turoshan, the Los Angeles owner of the Bell Card Club, created Pai Gow Poker in 1985. Turoshan was inspired by a Filipino customer who introduced him to the game, Pusoy. He added a personal twist to the game by lowering the number of cards by 13 to 7 and 3 to 2 hands. Pai Gow is perhaps the oldest casino game, and its name roughly translates to Make 9. Though many American players are now becoming more aware of Pai Gow Poker, the origin of classic Chinese game were first played over 1,000 years ago and was popular diversion among soldiers and citizens, a fact that is reflected in its two suits, the military and civilian. Though the original game of Pai Gow has been offered in various casinos around the world for several decades, largely in an attempt to cater to the many Asian tourists, Pai Gow Poker didn't appear in American casinos until 1985, when it was first played in a small California gambling establishment. Within 5 years, it is quickly spread across the United States, appearing in Las Vegas in 1986 and making the jump to Atlantic City shortly after. Today, Pai Gow Poker has a worldwide following and a popular choice at many casino gaming tables. The game is easy to learn and play, and it has added appeal of being low risk. Wagering at 1-to-1 odds doesn't win or lose much in the short term. Many compare the game to Baccarat in that aspect. Just like the classic French game, Pai Gow Poker easily lends itself to high-stakes play, and it is played with a traditional deck of 52 playing cards plus 1 joker, total of 53 cards. Joker used only as an ace or a wild card to complete a straight or a flush. The dealer starts the game by rolling 3 dice to determine which player receives the first sets of cards. Each player receives 7 cards and create 2 heads simultaneously. Ideally, the players would create a high hand and a second high hand. The player wins if both hands are higher than the banks, and the player loses if both hands are lower than the banks. If one is higher and the other is lower, the game is a tie.
Is an ancient Chinese game played among up to 8 players, with 1 player serving as the player dealer. Instead of cards, the game is played with dominoes, which are called tiles. The object of the game is to form 2 hands, which rank higher than the dealer's 2 hands. Because you are not playing against the house, there is a collection fee for every hand played or wager placed. To begin, the house dealer deals 8 stacks of 4 tiles each. The player dealer selects one of the stacks as the first to be dealt. The player dealer will then shake a dice cup to determine which player position will receive the first hand. The remaining stacks are dealt counterclockwise around the table. Each player will then arrange their tiles into 2 hands, a high hand and low hand, which they will place face down in front of them. This is called setting the hand. If a player is unsure how to proceed, they may request that their hand be set houseway by stacking all 4 of their tiles in one pile in front of them, and the house dealer will set their hand for them. After all player hands have been set, the player dealer exposes and sets their hand. The house dealer will then turn up each player's hand in turn, counterclockwise, beginning with the player who received the action button, and compare them against the dealer's hands to determine the outcome of the game. Now let's take a look at the hand rankings for Pai Gow Tiles. The value of a tile is based solely on the pattern of the pips, not the colors. The red and white colors only make it easier to recognize the number and pattern of the pips. The highest possible hand is the supreme pair, commonly called Jijun. It is made up of a 6 tile and a 3 tile. These tiles together make up the high hand, but separately, they are considered wild, and either tile may be counted as a 6 or a 3. After Jijun, the next highest ranked hands are the 11 matched pairs, collectively called Bo. These are ranked in the order you see here. After the matched pairs, the 4 unmatched pairs form the next highest set of hands. These are followed by Wong, which is a 12 or 2 tile paired with a 9 tile. Next comes Gong, which is a 12 or 2 tile paired with any 8 tile. The lowest ranked hands are the combinations, which are formed by adding the pips of any 2 tiles to get a number. If the value of the 2 tiles together is higher than 9, only the last digit of the total is used to determine the value of the hand, with the exception of Wongs and Gongs. Don't worry if you can't remember all of the hand rankings on your first try. You'll get better with practice. To win, both of a player's hands must rank higher than the dealer's hands. If both of the dealer's hands rank higher than the player's hands, the player loses. You must win both hands to win, but you must also lose both hands to lose. Anything else is a tie, or a put.
The goal of this game is to beat both the high and low cards of the banker. If only one hand or one player wins, it is considered as push, or it means that there is no winner. But both player hands loses, the dealer wins. If both players win, they will win an amount equal to their bets, minus 5% of the commission. But if both of the dealer's high and low cards are better, then the dealer wins the wager. Otherwise, the players will take back their bets.
Pai Gow Poker is a house bank even payout game where each player, including the dealer, is dealt with 7 cards. Players split their cards into 2-card low hand and a 5-card high hand. The Joker acts as a semi-wild card, which can complete straights, flushes, or serve as an ace.
Welcome to our deep dive into the fascinating world of Pai Gow Poker. In this video, we'll explore the rules, strategy, and nuances of this unique card game that combines elements of traditional Chinese Pai Gow and poker. Let's get started. First off, Pai Gow Poker is played with a standard 52-card deck plus a joker. The objective? To create 2 hands from your 7-card dealt hand, a high hand and a low hand. Your goal is to beat the dealer in both hands. Sounds straightforward, right? But there's a bit more to it. To begin with, let's talk about how you set your hands. The high hand must always be stronger than the low hand. The standard poker rankings apply here, with one crucial twist. The joker can be used as an ace or to complete a straight or flush. You'll always want to make the best possible combinations in both hands. A pair of aces is better than a high card, and so on. Now, let's discuss the dealing process. After placing your bets, the dealer distributes 7 cards to each player and themselves. Players will take their time to analyze their hands, but keep in mind that you must set your hands in a way that's defensible. If the dealer's hands beat yours, you lose your bet. It's a delicate balance of strategy and chance.
Sitting hands. When it comes to sitting your hands, practice makes perfect. You typically want a strong pair in your high hand and as many high cards as possible in your low hand. Remember, no player can change the dealer's hand, which adds to the challenge. In winning and losing, once players set their hands, the dealer reveals theirs. If the dealer bets both your high and low hand, you lose your bet. If you bet the dealer's hands, congratulations, you win. There is also push scenario if you tie one hand but win or lose the other. In this case, you keep your bet. Lastly, in house age and strategy, it's essential to understand the house age and Pai Gow Poker, which can be lower than other casino games. This makes a carefully strategy key. Players often choose to play more conservatively by trying to maximize the number of pushes and minimizing losses, allowing the lower gameplay.
Now let's learn how to play Pai Gow Poker. Pai Gow Poker uses a standard deck of 52 cards plus 1 joker. A maximum of 6 players sit around the table along with the dealer. The objective of the game is quite simple, and that is to beat the banker. The banker can be the dealer, another player at the table, or a player-dealer team. So let's learn the basics of Pai Gow Poker. Pai Gow Poker is a variation of poker that uses a traditional 5-card hand. However, instead of playing against the other players at the table, everyone is playing against the dealer's hand. Before you play Pai Gow Poker, you need to familiarize yourself with the basic 5-card poker hands. So those are Royal Flush, which consists of Ace, King, Queen, Jack, and a 10 of the same suit. We have Straight Flush, which consists of 5 consecutive cards of the same suit like Ace, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of clubs. We have Four of a Kind, which consists of 4 of the same cards but different suits. We have Full House, which consists of 3 cards of the same rank plus 2 cards of the same rank. We have Flush, which consists 5 cards of the same suit. We have Straight, which consists 5 cards in the sequence but can be from different suits like 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We have Three of a Kind, which consists 3 of the same cards. We have Two Pairs, which consists 2 matching cards of the same ranking and 2 matching cards of another rank. We have a Pair, which consists of 2 matching cards, and we have High Card, which is the highest ranking card in the hand. In Pai Gow Poker, you are dealt 7 cards each round. Once you get your cards, you need to arrange your best 5-card hand and your best 2-card hand. Your 5-card hand has to be better than your 2-card hand. For your 2-card hand, the best you can get is a pair. Note, not every one of the 5 cards needs to be a part of your hand. For example, if you have Three of a Kind, the remaining 2 cards can simply form the rest of your 5-card hand. In Pai Gow Poker, you play against the dealer, not the other players at the table. If both your 5-card hand and your 2-card hand beats the dealer, you win the round and double the bet that you placed. Lose both of your hands against the dealer's hands, then you lose your bet. If you win one of your hands and the dealer wins the other, then the round ends in a push and nobody wins the round. Note, if both of your hands tie the dealer, then the dealer wins that round. Now, let's learn how to play the round. If you are not playing at a casino, you can take turns being the dealer or a banker. The goal of Pai Gow Poker is to defeat the dealer, not the other players at the table. You can change the dealer after each round to keep the play interesting. Every player at the table must place their bets before the dealer will deal out 7 cards to each player. There will be a minimum bet and a maximum bet, and you need to place your bet between those amounts. After the initial bet, the dealer will deal 7 cards to each player at the table, and each player will begin to form their 2 hands. Then, the dealer will deal themselves 7 cards, face up, and arrange their hands. You'll take a look through the 7 cards you were dealt and form them into 2 hands, which you will place face up on the table. Note, every player, including the dealer, will be able to see everyone's hand at the table. Look through your cards and form your 5-card hand with your best cards and your 2-card hand with the best cards that you have left. Note, remember, your 5-card hand must be better than your 2-card hand.
For this part, we're going to discuss the different types of scoring in a round by playing a Pai Gow Poker. The first type, you need to compare your 2-card hand to the dealer's 2-card hand. After everyone at the table has arranged their 2 hands, the dealer will deal their 7-card and form their 5-card and 2-card hands. Compare your 2-card hand to the dealer's hand to see if yours is better. If you have a pair and they have a pair, whoever have the higher pair wins that round. For the second type, match your 5-card hand against the dealer's 5-card hand. You only need to beat the dealer's hand to win the round. So after you've compared your 2-card hand to theirs, check their 5-card hand to see how it stuck up next to yours. Remember the 10 basic 5-card hands, and check to see if your hand outranks the dealer's hand. If you hand ties the dealer's hand, then the dealers win that round. For the third type, win the round by defeating both of the dealer's hand. If both of your hands defeat the dealer's hand, then you will receive double the amount that you've bet. If you lose both of your hands against the dealer's hand, then the dealer will collect your bet and add it to the bank. For the fourth type, score a push to move on to the next round. If you win one of your hand and the dealer wins the other hand, then the round ends in a push or a tie. That means that nobody wins and play moves on to the next round. For example, if you have 5-card hand beats the dealer's 5-card hand, but your 2-card hand is defeated by the dealer's 2-card hand, then that round ends in a push or a tie.
Today we'll explain the rules that most casinos follow to set their hands in Pai Gow. But before we get to the strategy, there's one important thing you need to know. Never bet the bonus. That's because the house edge on the bonus is huge compared to the main bet. The rest of Pai Gow's strategy has to do with how you set your hand. If your hand is completely unconnected, play your highest card in your 5-card hand and your second and third highest cards as your 2-card hand. If you only have one pair, play the pair in your high hand and your 2 other highest cards in your low hand. Most of the tricky spots in Pai Gow are deciding whether to split 2 pairs. First, think of all the pairs as divided into 3 categories. Deuces through 6s are low, 7s through 10s are medium, and jacks through aces are high. Based on those groups, you should always split up 2 pair in the following spots. If you have a pair of aces, if you have 2 high pairs, if you have 1 high pair and 1 medium pair. Unless you have an ace in your hand, you should also split 2 pair if you have 2 medium pairs, or if you have 1 high pair and 1 low pair. And finally, unless you have an ace or a king, you should always split 2 pairs if you have 1 medium pair and 1 low pair, or 2 low pairs. You should always play 3 of a kind in your high hand, unless you have 3 aces. Then play a pair of aces in your high hand and ace high in your low hand. When you have a full house, always play the pair in your 2-card hand and 3 of a kind in your high hand, unless you also have a second pair, in which case play the higher of the 2 pairs in your low hand. Always play straights and flushes in your high hand, unless you also have 2 pair. Then split them according to the rules we covered before. Always split quads into 2 pairs if you have 4 jacks or above. If you have 4 of a kind 6s or lower, keep them together. If you have 4 of a kind 7s through 10s, only keep them together if you also have an ace. If you have 5 aces using the joker, always split them, unless you also have a pair of kings, in which case play all 5 aces in your high hand.
What's Pai Gow Poker?
You don't even know?
No.
It'll change your life if you're a gambler.
Okay.
You'll never win. But you also never lose.
Oh.
It's also the only game that the dealer has to always tell you the best option for you. And you get to make your decision after the dealer does. You get dealt 7 cards and the dealer gets 7 cards. Oh, there's 2 versions. There's a face-up and a non-face-up.
Okay.
Go play the face-up version.
Okay. 7 cards, 7 cards.
Yeah, so you and the dealer get 7 cards. The dealer goes face-up, opens up all 7 cards, and has to make a 2-card poker hand and a 5-card poker hand. After their hands are set, you then look at your cards and you go, how do I make a 2-card and a 5-card where my 2 beats her 2 and my 5 beat her 5? And if you can't, all you say is, how do I guarantee to win one of them and I'm willing to lose the other.
What is your favorite game? Not
My
the
truly my favorite game is Pai Gow Poker. Pai Gow. Face up Pai Gow.
Yeah.
That's actually my favorite game.
That's my mom's favorite game.
I believe it.
Is that because the odds are the best?
It's the most fun game that you'll never lose at.
What do you mean
You'll also never win.
Really? You just stay even?
Every time. So they call it the game for blackout drunks. There's a few reasons. The first is if you ever make the not best like arrangement of cards for your own hand, the dealer has to correct you so you win or it's a foul hand. So you can literally play every single hand before you even do anything. Just open all your cards and say, dealer, what should I do? And it's the only game in a casino the dealer has to give you the right information every time. It's a rule. So it's really hard to make a mistake, close to impossible.
And there's a real dealer. It's not like a computer.
Yeah, a real dealer. So you get 7 cards and the dealer gets 7 cards. You have to make a 2-card poker hand and a 5-card poker hand. The only way to win is your 2 card has to beat the dealer's 2 card. Your 5 card has to beat the
Okay.